This evening, Adam Goods returns to training overwhelmed by support from the AFL community. Goods is keen to return to the Swans team against Geelong after sitting out a week over the booing controversy.
It was a very humbling experience to see the different things that our football club did, other football clubs and the AFL did, and other players did themselves, took upon themselves to show their support. So I felt very loved over the weekend.
Hello, I'm Peter Wilkins and this is Grandstand. It's good to have your company. Adam Goods says he's been humbled by the support he received over the booing controversy. The dual Brownlow medalist returned to training today after taking a week off to consider his future. He's now focused on returning to the field starting this weekend against Geelong. Lucas Fontaine reports.
Fresh from a week off, Adam Goods was just excited to be back at training.
I felt like the first day back at school today, walking into the rooms and seeing all the boys again.
The dual Brownlow medalist missed his side's win over Adelaide at the weekend, taking time away to deal with persistent booing by opposition fans.
Well, I definitely needed to have that break and get away from it all.
The 35-year-old said he was humbled by the support shown by Swan supporters, rival players and the wider community.
I felt very loved over the weekend.
Change the world! How are you going to do it? Fight racism!
A flash mob demonstrated that community support in Melbourne today as the AFL's chief used the launch of Multicultural Round to promise zero tolerance for racism.
It's a clear mandate that the treatment of Adam Goods has been unacceptable, and we have to get that respect back in our game.
I think those discussions needed to be had, and I'm really hopeful that those discussions are behind us now and we can all move on.
For Goods, moving on means travelling to enemy territory to take on the Cats in Geelong.
That's my job. It's what I love doing. It's the way I really like to express myself out in the footy field, and really looking forward to doing that on the weekend.
From where we were a week ago to where we are to now, and the way our industry is about to navigate this and our supporters, I'm really optimistic about the way Adam's going to be received this weekend.
A football test in every sense. Lucas Fontaine, ABC News, Sydney.
Melbourne captain Cameron Smith has called on the NRL to come down harder on players who perform shoulder charges. The Roosters' Kane Evans' huge hit on the Bulldogs' Sam Cassiano over the weekend has prompted some within the game to call for the return of the controversial tackle, but Smith says there's no place in the game for it.
Obviously Kane Evans, he put one on the weekend. I think everyone knows that it's a shoulder charge, but wasn't charged by the match review committee. I think it's either in the game or it's not. And if you want to put it on, then you're going to get charged no matter whether there's an injury, whether there's whiplash to someone's head. I think it's just got to be stamped out of the game altogether.
Meanwhile, Manly 5/8 Kieran Foran believes the team's form reversal is due to the lack of off-field distractions. The Sea Eagles' stunning win over the Warriors and Broncos followed the announcement that coach Jeff Tuvey would be released at the end of the season.
We have nothing but respect for him as a player and as a coach. So, we really want to do the best we can for him in these next 5 games, and hopefully, give ourselves every chance of making a late charge for the finals.
To dissect the weekend's NRL action, I'm joined in the studio by Grandstand rugby league expert and former NRL coach Matthew Elliott. Matt, welcome to the program. Good to have your company.
Always good to be here, Wilco. I can't wait for your questions tonight. I'm ready. I'm ready for you.
First of all, the shoulder charge. There have been calls for a return to the shoulder charge, including Paul Gallen. That's in the wake of Kane Evans' big hit on Sam Cassiano over the weekend. But in the no corner, James Ackerman's brother Andrew has come out on Facebook. James Ackerman, the young man who died after the effects of a tackle up on the Sunshine Coast. What's your view on this tackle?
It's spectacular. There's two massive men coming together. However, I'm going to go down the route that Cameron Smith went today, is that, look, with players these days getting stronger, fitter and faster than they've ever been, you know, player safety has to take precedent. And in this situation, if we allow this to continue, there is going to be another serious injury. I think the NRL have got it spot on. And while that was spectacular, we need to move past it and shoulder charge. The game has been fantastic without it.
Paul Gallen did specifically say the hit to the body, one to the head, should be penalised, but that's kind of glass half full.
James Ackerman's situation was a hit to the body. So what we need to do is that we don't need to go backwards, we need to continue going forward. I get how spectacular that incident was. However, player safety has to take precedent, and the game is spectacular enough without that shoulder charge. There's no doubt about it.
Let's stay with that game on Friday night, the real festival of football. What conclusions can we draw from this outing?
Well, one, when the Roosters play their best footy, and what they're trying to do is evolve their football, particularly their attacking style. They've always been renowned for a very, very good defensive team, but they're playing a lot more second phase and shifting the ball around. When they get it right, we saw that in the first 25 minutes, they are nearly unstoppable. So they did, but when they lost possession, they allowed the Bulldogs back in the game, and Bulldogs had 8 straight sets at the back end of the first half. They showed their resilience. So we got 2 very, very high quality teams, played one of the highest quality games of club football that you'd ever want to see, and both are going to be there at the back end of the season.
The fact that the Bulldogs did surrender the lead, is that cause for a concern for them, or is it more an emphasis on just how good the Roosters were at the back end, including the form of Jared Warrior-Hargraves, who really drove them through that advantage line?
That's a really good thing that you've identified there, as Jared Warrior-Hargraves in particular did sort of the resurgence back to the lead came from him, but also they went set for set. And that's the thing at the moment where the Bulldogs struggle. I saw them play against the Broncos. When they go set for set with teams, and there's a 50-50, that big pack of theirs starts to fail a little bit. It's something that Des is going to have to resolve.
Let's look at Manly. The resurgence came on the back of a release of tension. We've heard a little bit from one of the players today. But the manner of this victory, if you take it to the nth degree, they make the finals and go on to the grand final. Is that possible?
Yes. I don't know about the grand final, but definitely the finals. And there's some key things that we heard from players after the game when they were interviewed. One, they've got a full complement of players on the training field. And next week, Jeff Tuvey's going to have headaches. You know, he's got players coming back. Steve Matai comes back into that side. Who's he going to drop? You know, he hasn't had that decision. All year he's been going, well, whoever's fit the player you're in, and let's go down the pub and find some extra guys that can pull a jersey on. Honestly, that's what it's been like. So that's the first thing. Obviously, the other thing is that there's been an outpouring of emotion for Jeff Tuvey, but there's 14 guys got put on notice that they're not wanted at the organisation as well. So they're playing for their future.
And on the Broncos, is that a red herring as far as their form is concerned? Just a blip?
When you win 8 games in a row, you're going for your 9th, you take some things for granted. You know, I saw it in the first set in this game. The contact and the defence that they're renowned for was absent. And when that happens, it just steamrolls into other areas. Yeah, I think it was this awful term that Wayne Bennett, I hope he's not watching, would have a little sick in your mouth, is it was a loss they needed to have.
All right. The West Tigers, Jason Taylor has bemoaned the lack of depth at the club, but if they're playing the team that put together this upset, that doesn't really matter, does it?
Well, you and I have spoken about James Tedesco a few times on this, and he's the one player that has consistently played at a high level. What happened is other guys stepped up with him in this game and allowed them to play their best footy. They cannot rely on this happening every now and then. That comes with young players, inconsistency, but it shows the quality they do have in their team.
That came after the Storm had broken away to a good lead, so this was in the big upset category.
Yeah, and also an indication of that if you expect something in an NRL game and you take your eye off the ball, which is exactly what the Storm did, and their coach gave them an absolute pasting in the press conference afterwards, their attitude went from the right attitude to the wrong attitude and they got their pants pulled down.
Now, the Sharks, they seem to be playing from the same script virtually every week. What sort of chance do you give them after yet another grafting win? They came from behind to beat the Warriors, albeit minus Sean Johnson.
Yeah, look, this is still a tough victory to get. Very hard to win over there. What the Sharks are doing is they've learnt to win. and they're finding ways to win. They're certainly going to have to build their game beyond what they've played in the last few weeks to be a real threat in the semi-finals, but they're going to be thereabouts. And you know what? They'll win a game in the semis is my prediction. They'll get there and they'll cause one upset, and that'll be a great achievement for the team.
All right, the Sharkies doing the business against the Warriors. South Sydney, they've got an extremely tough run in. They grafted a pretty solid win, and there was a concussion case in this game as well. How are they going to go? Where are the Rabbitohs going to factor in?
When I watched them play Newcastle last week, I said, look, they've found their way. They've been in fourth, but they haven't played their best footy. Their best footy's coming now. They look like they've done a pre-season game, a week of training coming into this game. They look tired and lethargic and have found a way to win. You know, we're all so grateful that this collision here didn't turn into something nasty for someone who's had a lot of concussion injuries and been selected to play this week. So we're all grateful that that's the case.
Let's move on to the Dragons and their form, which has been absent. Was it the opposition, or are they genuinely back on the right path with a couple of stars in their side? Benji was in form. He was in form. Look, when you've lost 7 games in a row, you're not going to come back and play your best footy and blow a team off the park to win a game. They had to have this really ugly win against a team that played. Obviously, their coach had gone. They were playing under Danny Badiris, and they played with a lot of energy early on. The Dragons found a way back in the game, won convincingly. As I said, they were never going to have the beautiful victory. Now they can build some confidence, build on that performance. I still think they're going to make the 8. Let's close with the Cowboys, and they keep putting these patches together during games. On the weekend, there was another case for them going all the way. 32 unanswered points at one point during this game. Stunning. Yeah, as Jonathan Thurston said after the game, they'd prefer not to have to make these comebacks. Again, another team that showed a lot of belief in the systems of play and in each other. Jonathan Thurston's performance in this game, particularly the second half, this should be illegal. The passing that he's put on after he made that break is ridiculous. You can't do it. Look at this. What? No, send him off. That's taking it too in and beyond the line. He's just an absolutely sensational watch. You talk about shoulder charges and how spectacular they are. Just go and watch Jonathan Thurston play. The performances that he's put on this year have just been phenomenal. Matt Elliott, good calling. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Can't wait. Looking to add to its medal tally with several strong chances on the third night of the World Swimming Championships in Russia. The Australians failed to add a medal on night 2. The best hope last night was Emma McKeon, but she finished 4th in a record-breaking final of the women's 100 metres butterfly.
I'm just wanting to do the best time I could, and I'm not very happy with that time. You always get disappointments.
The Australians will start favourites in 2 events tonight. Mitch Larkin set a new Commonwealth record in qualifying fastest for the men's 100 metres backstroke final, and Emily Seebohm qualified fastest for the women's 100 metres butterfly. Wallabies coach Michael Cheika says his focus for Saturday's Bledisloe Cup encounter is to make Australian fans proud of his team. Cheika concedes Australia isn't expected to beat the All Blacks, who haven't lost to the Wallabies since 2011, but the coach believes his team is capable of closing the gap on the world champions.
The reality is everyone's targeting winning, so we've got to go for something more, and then let winning be a consequence of playing really well and deserving it and earning it, and that's really what I want to see the team do.
The Wallabies team for Saturday night's Rugby Championship decider will be announced on Thursday. Shaun Marsh is likely to receive a recall to the Australian team for the 4th Ashes Test, which starts on Thursday at Trent Bridge. The 32-year-old has so far been overlooked for the series despite impressing in warm-up games. Coach Darren Lehman says Marsh is knocking the door down for selection. Adam Voges could make way for his WA teammate after struggling for runs in the Edgbaston defeat. The Australians hope a pace-friendly pitch in Nottingham could play into Mitchell Johnson's hands.
When he's got his tail up, there's not many that are more ferocious or bowl as fast. And I think, you know, Mitchell Johnson in full flight is, I think, just a different level to anything I've seen. Yeah, well, I'm sure they know what he's capable of. You know, you saw it in the Ashes in Australia, and you've seen glimpses of it here, and it could be, I'm hopeful, a wonderful display from him out here.
And that's Grandstand for now. Don't forget you can also watch us on iView and Grandstand online. See you soon.